Mm-hmm.
You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sarah J. Loureiro.
Hey beauty, did you know that I just opened up some spots to work with me one-on-one? As an exclusive one-on-one business coaching client, you will get access to pretty much everything that I release this calendar year. So including my mastermind, including the amazing fully booked formula. If this is your year to finally up-level your business to the income and impact that really pushes you beyond your wildest dreams, we need to talk. You can book a free call with me to see if you're a good fit from the link bit.ly//let's talk success. That's uppercase L, uppercase T, uppercase S. Or you can head over to my website at sarahjloureiro.com/workwithsarah to find out more.
All right, welcome everyone. I am super excited to have our sweet guest on the podcast today, one of my own one-on-one business coaching clients, Lauren Ashley. She's made so many incredible changes even in her business throughout this past year. And she's here to talk to us today really about how to have it all, how to manifest the perfect body, the perfect health, while you can still carry on the business of your dreams. A lot of people feel like all of that is not possible, but after you listen to this episode today with Lauren, you're going to be a believer. So thank you so much, Lauren, for being here. How's it going?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be doing this interview with you today.
Yeah, and I know that we've been talking like back and forth about doing this interview and what we were going to be doing it on. And I think that this is such a good and just a really important topic that so many women need to hear.
Absolutely.
And so do you want to talk to us a little bit more about how you came into this field? Like, what exactly is it that you do? Why do you do it? Like, what's your story?
Okay, so I'm a holistic health and mindset coach, and I started my business actually in the network marketing field, selling nutrition products. That was around 5 years ago. And I loved the products, and I shared the products, I sold them, I used them daily. But the problem that I found was that they were replacing some of the crappy for lack of a better word, meals that I was having, but they weren't helping me to build confidence, and they weren't helping me to stop my emotional eating or my stress eating. And so I still was, even though I had these amazing products, I still didn't have the body that I loved. I wasn't in love with myself, and that reflected a lot on the outside. And so I had this desire to bring more to my community, because I noticed as I was going on my journey that more and more women struggled with confidence, and they also tended to focus only on that food piece or the exercise. And so what I really learned is that focusing on self-love first, and engaging the mind, body, and the spirit is really what you need in order to have a holistic, healthy lifestyle, and to get the body that you want, to manifest that body, to manifest the confidence, and to really go big.
Amazing. I love that. And so you started kind of off on this wanting to help others do the same thing, right? So I know that a big part of your story is, like you lost 20 pounds. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't something that was, a part of this huge hustle for you. It just kind of just intuitively came off. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So it's really funny, because when I first started working with you, I was like, okay, I'm going to launch this program to help women detox their body. And it was all focused on the food and a little bit of motivational stuff. But it was interesting because when we started working together, I had to do tons of mindset and spiritual work. And that was around the same time that I started my own spiritual path. I had been so resistant prior to my spiritual journey, but I moved to Mexico around a year ago as well. And I'm just in this town that's got this incredible vibe with healers. And so I felt guided on that spiritual path. But I think this is something I was massively lacking back in Canada, where I'm from, just because I don't think the spirituality piece, in terms of, I mean, what I did, like the meditation and all of that, it wasn't as available over there. And so it was this combination of starting the mindset work with you, embarking on this spiritual journey, and then just accepting and loving my body for the way that it was, that really helped. And then it's funny because I wasn't even focusing on weight loss. I came from this perspective of how can I nourish my body today? And will this, whatever it was, whether it was exercise or food, will this serve my body? Because I was coming from that place of self-love. And that's when the 20 pounds literally fell off. I had no idea. And I was getting all of these compliments, like, you're glowing and you look so, so good. And you've lost so much weight. And I was like, seriously, I have? And so when I went back home to Canada to visit family and friends, I checked and I had lost 20 pounds, which was like, I literally couldn't believe it because I was stuck 20 pounds heavier for a long time.
Wow. That's such an incredible story. And I think it really comes back to this whole idea of, we don't need to compartmentalize our lives. So once we work on one area of our lives, like we can totally give ourselves permission to take that exact same information, right? And that exact same coaching and the energy and all of that type of work to like really just be able to expand that into pretty much every area. There's one quote, I don't know if it's a quote or if it's just a saying. It's like, the way that you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Exactly.
Do you feel like that resonates for you at all?
Definitely, because my clients who come to me, they've literally done this same work, but just in a different area of their lives. So it's funny because I think you talk a lot about this too, but the limiting beliefs that they'll show up again and again and again in your business. Well, they show up again and again and again in different areas of your life, including health or relationships, for example.
And I'm like obsessed with the book The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and I know I tell all you guys all the time to read it because it's so good. And in the book, he talks so much about our own glass ceilings that are self-imposed, and how so many of us just believe, like if we have a good business, that means that our health has to deteriorate. Or if we have good health, it means that, like we can't put our business as a top priority. Or if we have a really good relationship, that means that our business is going to suffer, and vice versa. Whereas we literally can have everything. And I think that one of the things that you were talking to me about is how a lot of your clients they're excelling at the business part, right? So they're just like, awesome, like I'm going to devote all of my time to my business, and they have a little bit of that hustle mentality. They're a little bit of a go-getter, but then at the same time, for some reason, for them, it's really difficult to then process that, yes, they can have the same thing in their health. Do you want to kind of talk about that and where that might come from for a lot of people?
Yeah. So I think for a lot of people, and a lot of my clients, it's been down to this idea of worthiness. So somehow they've been able to get back to the idea of that they're worthy enough to receive, and that they're worthy enough to have the business, and that they're worthy enough to make that business really what they desire. But when it comes to their health and having the body that they want, I think there's been so much messaging as they grow up that they need to be of this particular shape, or this woman who is, fits all the boxes. She's white and she's thin and she's fit and she's, but she doesn't look too manly. She still is feminine, right? So there's all of these different societal things that kind of shape the way that we think that we need to be. And then there's also information that comes from our family and our friends and the media, and TV shows and all of that stuff that tells us, what we need to be and what we need to look like. And so I think what happens a lot of the time is women get so caught up in these thoughts. But then the biggest thing that they need to work on is that self-worth, and that they are worthy of feeding their bodies well and having a body that they really love. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it really goes along with that whole mentality of, like you can have everything that you want, right? It doesn't have to be, I need to sacrifice my health for the success of my business and things like that. And this really also comes back to the whole, like, we don't need to hustle our way through everything, right? I know that even as I've been an entrepreneur for 4 years now, I still hear some of my friends who are not entrepreneurs who tell me, like it takes 3 years to get out of debt for entrepreneurship, or, like you have to hustle yourself for like at least 2 or 3 years before you receive a return on investment. And I know that that's certainly not been the case for me. And it kind of comes down to this whole, I think we just have this like societal mentality that we need to hustle, right? Mm-hmm. Like if we really want to make our businesses work, we need to hustle, and like everything else needs to go to the side burner. But how can really investing in your health ultimately also help you with your business? What has been like a huge takeaway from you for like how you've worked with your clients as well?
Yeah. So just taking care of yourself and your health. So one of the biggest examples I like to share is, a lot of us are running service-based businesses where we're doing the one-on-one. We might be coaching, we might be building websites, whatever it might be that is providing a service. But if you're not taking care of your health and well-being, if you get sick, what happens to your business? And so I think a lot of people are trying to set themselves up so that in the long run, that won't matter. But I feel like still health and wellness should be a priority on an entrepreneur's list, because, we are the CEOs of our business. We are the leaders in our business. And in order to show up like a CEO and like a leader, we need to make sure that we are taking care of our physical, mental, and spiritual needs, right?
I have another question in my head right now, because I think this is there's like a really polarizing topic, I think, that's going on a lot within the online health world. And I feel like I'm going to love your answer to this. But there seem to be a lot of really conflicting messages out there. There's some people who are like, you don't need to manifest another body. You don't need to lose weight. Like there's a lot of people who are completely hating the whole weight loss industry because it's just like, that doesn't promote self-love, right? And then on the other side, they're the people who are like, no, lose weight. You need to lose weight. You need to lose weight. With the hustle mentality of just like, this needs to be your primary, like your number one priority for everything that you're doing. And it seems like a lot of people are at odds. So it's either you love your body and you don't do any type of weight loss, or you do the weight loss, but as part of doing weight loss, it means that you can't practice self-love. There's no way that you can love your body if you want to lose weight. Do you want to touch a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I absolutely.
And what your overall mentality is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love this. So for me, it's a combination of the two, and it's a fine balance, because I actually believe both of those, but to a more minimal degree, I guess. So here's the thing with self-love. Eating cupcakes every night and stuffing your face with sweets is not self-love, because from my perspective, self-love is about serving your body in the way that it needs to be served. And if you do the research, sugar is the most detrimental food that you can be consuming. And so for me, self-love is really about that, finding a balance. And then the other side of that too is some people will be like, oh, well, you need to treat yourself, whatever. I don't think that treating yourself is still eating the brownies and eating the cupcakes and eating the cake, because again, you're not serving your body. And then there's the other side of that coin that is just focusing on the weight loss. And I agree with that, that if you just focus solely on the weight loss, that you're not manifesting that self-love. And so for me, and for what I try to really practice on with my clients, is loving the body that we're in right now. And then from that perspective, we can start to care for our body. And so usually when people indulge in cupcakes and brownies and all the sweet things, or the chips, whatever it might be, that's coming from a very emotional place. And it's not very productive to be stuffing down those emotions. It's almost like, as a comparison, it's almost like drinking or taking drugs to deal with the emotions, right? And just to a lesser degree. And so I think anybody might say that drinking or taking drugs is not necessarily an adaptive or a productive way of managing those emotions. So it always comes back to the self-love bit and really defining what is self-love. Is it giving up? Is it kind of like a fight against the weight loss, or is it truly about loving your body and loving it the way it is, but also nurturing it?
I love that. I feel like that's so on point with just not considering each and every situation black and white, and just kind of really treating, like, it really all comes down to treating your body with respect, right?
Exactly.
So how can an entrepreneurial woman lose weight? So we know that for a lot of these women, especially when we're first starting out or as we're scaling our businesses, we tend to feel like we need to, burn the night oil. And we tend to feel like we need to become overwhelmed and, hustle to riches and things like that. And usually when we're in that type of mentality, we forget to eat. We either forget to eat, or we're so stressed out that stress creates this need in our bodies to crave that really, really crappy food. So how are some of the ways that some of the women who are listening to this, who want to do the same thing, they want to manifest losing 20 pounds while still being able to create a successful business, what are some things that you'd recommend for them?
Mm-hmm. So it's funny because this is what I was going to talk about a little earlier for your other question there that I forgot about. But
okay.
This overwhelm.
Great, so we're bringing it back.
Yeah. The overwhelm and stress doesn't actually serve our businesses either, because you talk about this a lot as well. When we're coming from a place of overwhelm and stress, and at times burning the night oil is necessary for growth. But when we're always doing that, that can lead to burnout. That can lead to a lack of creativity. It can lead to exhaustion. And so that's not serving our business or the people that we serve either. And so what I would recommend, and what I work on with my clients, is to really schedule in your self-care, and to make it one of the top 3 priorities that you have in your life. And you talk about this all the time, right? Going for a run in the morning to clear your mind. And, drinking green smoothies, that's my thing. But eating well helps to have a clearer mind when writing or when chatting. You're not feeling so exhausted all the time. And so that's why taking care of your health and well-being is such an important thing for your business to succeed, and maybe succeed a little bit more than what it currently is. And what was your question?
Yeah, just how, any other tips that you have for a woman who's listening to this right now, who feels like she's really struggling, and she feels like she needs to choose. Either it's my business and my business success, or it's the losing weight. Because right now, she has 1 hour to work on her business, and she knows that she needs to make something healthy to eat, but you know, it's so much easier for her to grab that muffin. It's so much easier for her to grab that cupcake. What are some things that you'd suggest for her?
Definitely. Okay, so scheduling it in, one of my favorite things to do is meal prep. And if you can't meal prep or don't have the time, find somebody who can do it for you. This is actually a strategy that my client has just recently put in, and it has helped her so much in her business and with her weight loss journey, because she's got healthy food ready to go and she didn't have to spend the time doing it. So if you can afford to have somebody come and meal prep for you, then that's great, or reach out to family or friends to support you. Scheduling in, I think another misconception is people think that health needs to take hours out of your day. And that's not true. You can go for a 15-minute walk in the middle of your day when you need to stand up and take a break. On your lunch hour, in the morning, whatever it might be. So just squeezing in a little bit of walking here and there, or pushing yourself a little bit further in your yoga class, for example, are really great ways that you can get started and have a little bit more of that balance when you're also trying to build your business. And then another one of my favorite things to do is just use an affirmation. And just, you know, when you look at yourself in the mirror, a lot of the times hateful messages can come up like, oh, I hate the way my body looks in this. I need to change my outfit. Instead of doing that, use your awareness to pinpoint what are the negative messages coming about and replace them with, I love my body as it is today. It's one of my favorite affirmations to give people to start with.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. And this also relates so much to the law of attraction. It's just, well, wherever you want to be isn't better than where you are now. And so if you can master like really enjoying and appreciating what's in the now, it's so much easier to manifest where it is that you want to be, because there's no negative association with your manifesting or with what you're trying to do, right? Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Can you clarify?
Yeah. Basically, like, I guess I'm not explaining this properly, but why is it so important to really, you know, like get into the mindset work and get into the law of attraction, the energy work, all of that kind of stuff? Like, I know that even you were saying that when you were working for, you know, like your product-based company as an entrepreneur, you always felt like there's that disconnect. What do you feel like is one of the primary reasons why your coaching is so effective? Why do you feel like, you know, like really bringing in the mindset work and really bringing in the energetic work is going to be one of the key pieces that a lot of people are missing within their weight loss journey and within their health journey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So in terms of the mindset stuff, I mean, if you're walking around and you're feeding yourself well and you're doing the exercise, but you're not giving yourself loving thoughts, it's just not going to work out, because you're still going to go for for me, I was exercising and I was eating relatively well. But then when I would experience an emotional or a stressful time in my life, I would go for the sweets. And of course, that counteracts everything that you've just done to take a step forward in your health or your weight loss journey. And that's why that mindset piece is so important. And another thing too that I notice a lot is women procrastinating on doing the weight loss things. And they'll do this even in business, right? I remember I went through this as well. They'll procrastinate on the things and they'll make up excuses for why they can't do it. And this comes back down to limiting beliefs. And that's that mindset work. That's, digging deeper, like where did this belief come from? Why is it still showing up? What do you need to work through? What do you need to let go of in order to do the things that will help you? Because I think a lot of us, we want to do the things and we know that those things will get us places, for example, exercising and yoga and meditation, but our ego comes up, our Eastern ego will come up and make these excuses for why we can't do it. And you talk a lot about this all the time. And that's, these excuses are just our ego's way of protecting us in case we fail, which we won't fail if we do the things. It's our ego's way of protecting us, and it's our ego's way of keeping us small. And so that's that mindset. And then the energetic piece is really related to that. And also it kind of takes mindset a little bit deeper, in terms of, changing your energy and what, I don't really know how to explain it, but I can really pick up on people when their energy is saying something different than what they're saying. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the iceberg effect, right? This is what
Yes.
I'm coming back to this iceberg effect a lot lately because it's just so true on so many levels. So anyone who's taken psychology, or even if you haven't, the iceberg effect is technically, do you want to explain it actually?
Well, it's the underlying thing. So you've got the stuff that is on top of the iceberg is everything that you can see, your behaviors, your actions, what you're saying. But then underneath the iceberg is everything. It's like that the deeper stuff within, it's subconscious, right? So it's the subconscious beliefs that we have, the limiting beliefs, the fears that don't necessarily present themselves on the surface. And it's funny because if they do present themselves, they're usually in our inaction or in our behaviors. I find that the conscious mind can say something, but if the subconscious mind doesn't believe you, then it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Yes. And the conscious mind. So like another part of it is, and this is completely mind blowing, but the conscious mind is 10% and the subconscious is 90, right?
Exactly.
And if you think about that, it's so crazy because on the one hand, if you ask so many women if they want to lose 20 pounds, especially if, like they're really struggling with eating well and just kind of balancing everything in their lives, how many of them are going to say, yes, of course. Yes, I want to lose 20 pounds, right? But then how many of us actually put that into action, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things that hold us back from taking that action.
And so getting into that energy work. So anyone who's listening to this right now and who wants to manifest some weight loss, so believes in the law of attraction, believes in a lot more of this mindset stuff that we're talking about, and they are a little bit heavier than they want to be, and they kind of understand why. It's not like they just woke up one morning and they were like, oh, look, I'm heavier. They understand, that like a lot of their actions in their lives have led them to be where they are, but they don't quite understand. They've tried so many different things, right? And you hear people talk about this all the time. Like I tried this specific diet, it didn't work, or I tried this specific diet and it worked for a month, but now like I'm back again. Like I yo-yoed again. Or I tried to go to the gym, and I bought a gym membership for an entire year and I only went for the first month, all of that kind of stuff. How can someone like that manifest losing 20 pounds? What is something that you'd recommend? Where do you feel like they need to start?
Man, I feel like with that, because that is so common, my first question is, how well did you actually try? Because typically they will try with, quotation marks, but it's not really giving it their all. And so it again goes back to that mindset work. But what really helps, because a lot of us are so resistant to doing the mindset work, it always goes back to coaching and getting support and accountability. And if, if you're not in the realm of being able to get a coach right now, if it's not one of your top priorities, then at least find yourself a friend who can keep you accountable, and someone who's not just going to there's a difference between finding an accountability buddy and then finding a friend or family member who will keep you accountable, because typically the friends and the families, they will buy into your excuses. If you say, oh, I really don't want to go to the gym today, I'm just so exhausted. They will say, oh yeah, it's okay, you can rest today. But finding someone who can really keep you accountable is key.
Yes, I love that. I really, really love that. And I think that goes to that crosses so many different areas of our lives. And that's why it's the whole, like, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Exactly.
Because it's so true. Like, how true is it that, like, even for us, how many times do we enable our friends' behaviors, right? Because you want your friend to be there to be like, oh yeah, that's really shitty, like that really sucks. And if your friend's going to be like stone cold coach with you, you're going to be like, well, what the heck's going on, right? Like,
Yeah.
why aren't you supporting me? Which is why coaching and therapy are really just so effective. And I think each and every one of us just reaches a point where we know that, like, just going out and complaining to our friends or just like venting to our friends is just going to be, it's always going to be a mirror of the same thing, right? They're always going to be like, poor you, like, maybe try this. But really, once you get a coach or a mentor, like, they're not going to take that crap, right?
Exactly.
And that's the whole point, is to bring you out of any type of victimhood and any type of victim mindset that you have, and really bring you into a place of empowerment. Because at the end of the day, if all it took for us to go to the gym, and if all it took for us to lose weight is just to kind of do everything that the experts said, or just like do, the checklist that's in a lot of these diet plans, we wouldn't have a weight loss epidemic, right? Like, or a weight gain epidemic. We wouldn't have so many different health issues that we have in our world today. And it would be effortless, right? Like, the industry itself would not be making any money. And yet the industry is still making so much money, yet people still are not getting the help that they need. And it really comes down to the fact that we're not actually treating the problem, right? Like, we're not getting to the crux of the problem. And the crux of the problem is our thoughts, right? Because our thoughts are always going to create those actions, and those actions are always going to create those results. So yeah, we can hustle through it. And I feel like that's probably why so many people have so much short-term success with dieting, or, like going to the gym and things like that. But really long-lasting solutions need to come from the source, right? And the source is the mind. And so the more that we can work through the mind, the more that you can get, like, you can get your clients life-changing, sustainable results, because you're not just treating the problem. You're not just saying, eat this different food. We need to also understand why you're eating that food to begin with, right? And so much of that, like, kind of just going back to that iceberg effect, how much of that subconscious is the way that we were raised, right? What our parents ate, what we think is culturally appropriate to eat, what our moms told us when we were young about our bodies, right? There's so many different things. And once we get to the crux of all of that, like, that's really when everything starts to shift, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And it's funny too, because it's not even just our family that's putting these ideas in. You see sugar related things, they're always on trend, whether it's like a cute ice cream or a cute donut, right? If you think about, or pizza, if you think about all of the trendy foods, it's always food that's really bad for you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I've even noticed too, because I've also been on my own health journey, but like, even vegan food, right? So it's just like, vegan food is like this brand new, like, awesome thing. You eat vegan food and you're going to be so healthy. But then all of a sudden, so much of the vegan food that we're seeing is just like, it's a whole bunch of sugar. It's like the same thing over and over and over again, but we're just giving it a different label.
Like, vegan donuts are going to be so much healthier than regular donuts, but that's a myth, complete myth.
Yeah, exactly. And so what about if someone is having a huge sugar craving and, like, let's say, for example, they're up all night trying to work on a launch, or they have a client call and they're getting really stressed out, or, something's going on for this woman, and she, like, her sugar cravings just like hit the roof. What is something that you would recommend for her that will completely self-sabotage everything that she's trying to work towards in terms of finding in terms of finding that weight loss, or in terms of finding that health that she's looking for while being able to balance that with her business?
So a couple of things come to mind here. So I've experienced this. Sugar actually does have an addictive component to it. So part of it is mindset, and then part of it is a physical addiction. The key thing here when you're coming off of sugar or when you need a boost of energy is to either replace it or figure out what's going on, or so you can replace it by either, drinking an electrolyte drink, which would just be some salt and some citrus or something, for example, inside
that's
of
interesting.
water. Yeah. So the electrolytes actually really help to give energy. That's something that really helped me when I was transitioning. So that's like a physical thing. Another thing you can do, which is almost intuitive, is moving your body, right? And so we're sitting all day, and of course it's natural to get exhausted when we're just sitting. Our bodies are meant to move. And so if you can get outside, get some sun, whether it's just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, just, swing your arms around. I like to dance in my house in between client calls, just to give my body some natural energy. Another thing I love doing is green smoothies in the morning. That's another way of getting some natural energy. And then the other thing is to just dig deep, like if you're having a sugar craving, dig deep. Where is it coming from? Why are you craving sugar? Are you feeling lonely? Do you feel stressed? Figure out the root of the problem. And then from there, you can do some journaling and some mindset work or meditation or something like that to treat the root of the problem rather than just cover it up with a sugary treat.
Ooh, I love that. I'm learning so many new things today. I'm a little bit, I have a bit of a sweet tooth myself. And I've never heard of the electrolyte thing. That's really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, normally because I live in a hot climate, and this would work for you, I usually add salt to my water anyways, because of the electrolytes, because your body, as it loses, water through your sweat and everything, you need to replenish it. And there's something about the balance in the cells that you need sodium and water to balance out the osmosis that goes on physically.
Oh, awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really freaking helpful. And those are just like really simple little things that you can practice on a daily basis, right? Like that's the whole thing, I think, kind of just coming full circle, is that it's this whole idea that if you want to be healthy, you have to do all of these things. And I know sometimes I even feel overwhelmed with this, like the whole, let's make everything from scratch, right? So, if I were to make my own almond milk and my own peanut butter and, like my own salads, like every single day, I think that would be my full-time job.
Yes, for sure.
And there's also a guilt associated with it too, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, well, if I can't have it perfectly healthy with no preservatives, because I feel like there's a lot of people in the health world too who kind of just scare you. And it's just all of this, like, if you're not doing it on your own, then it's not worth it. And so then you put in your head, or I know I put in my head, like, well, if I'm not doing it on my own, then it's not worth it. And then I might as well just go out and get some tacos.
Yeah, exactly.
In Latin America, tacos is where it's at. It's not like I'm just going to go out and get a burger. Lauren and I both live. So Lauren lives in Mexico right now. I live in Nicaragua, so tacos are Mexican. People here always they're tacos mexicanos. But yeah, it's like tacos, pupusas, like pupusas are from El Salvador, but like those are like our go-to junk foods. And I think a lot of people just kind of give up because it's this whole idea that like a healthy lifestyle, you just need so much time and so much energy and so much dedication to it. But that couldn't be further from the truth, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can throw together a healthy meal in 5 minutes. It just depends. I made some gazpacho the other day, actually, and it's cold soup, and it's just tomato, onion. There's onion, a little bit of garlic, cucumber, something else. You can Google the recipe, but it's so fast and it's all vegetables. So yeah, there's easy ways of making, it's just about making health simple, and it can be simple. It doesn't have to be a huge thing that takes time out of your day.
Awesome. Amazing. I love that. And I feel like it's really comforting to hear. It's really comforting to hear like, oh, you have a sugar craving. Like, like these are the few steps that you need to take to just kind of curb it. And of course, like deepening all of that really comes down to getting to the root of the problem.
Exactly.
But even these little things that we implement can help us so much. And like you said, like both in our health and in our business and with everything, right? Because if you're up-leveling your business, you're up-leveling your health. You want to make sure that you're up-leveling everything at the same time. Nothing gets left behind, because at the end of the day, who says that you can't have it all, right?
Exactly. What a great way to sum that up.
Yeah. It really just brings me back to that book and how we have these self-limiting beliefs that, like if we have a good business, we can't have a good body. Or if we have a good body, we can't have a good relationship, and like all of these things. And what it really usually comes down to is the 90% that exists beneath the surface of the iceberg that is telling us that. Whereas it's not actually the case.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, Lauren, where can we find you? I already know where we can find you, but tell everyone else where they can find you, where they can get more information from you. And, for women who are really looking for something different than all of the other stuff that they've tried in terms of like manifesting the body and health that they want.
Yeah, so I am on Facebook and Instagram. My thing is Lauren Ashley Health. We'll probably link it in the show notes below, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've also got my Facebook group where I absolutely love it. It's I go live there usually once a week, and I have such a great time going live, and the support in there is awesome. I love supporting my community inside of my Facebook group. That one's called The Thriving Project. And if you're ready to get your healthy mindset in check, I've also got a 7-step guide to create a healthy mindset in 7 days. And I think we can link that below as well, right?
Yeah. And your Instagram, right? Did you?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram are both Lauren Ashley Health. Yeah.
Awesome. I love going on Lauren's Instagram and looking at her stories.
I try to do them once a day, but sometimes I fail.
Yeah. They're very entertaining too. And sometimes Lauren goes through these like nice, pretty walks. She also lives like right on the beach, don't you?
Yes. Well, not on the beach, but like 5 minutes away. So you can find me at the beach and at nice natural places. Not most days, but in my spare time, that's where I go.
Yeah. It's a beach town, right? It's very close to Cancun.
Yeah. It's a beach town. It's right on the Riviera Maya. It's beautiful.
So nice. So nice. And I bet you can talk loads about how you manifested that as well.
Oh, I could. That's a whole other story.
All right. So for now, let's just keep it at health. If you guys resonated with everything that Lauren had to say, I know that I really did. Go check out all of her links. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved our chat today.
Hey, did you like or love this episode? If so, I would so appreciate it if you left a review and rated this episode on iTunes. It would literally mean so much to me. And if you have Instagram and are all up in your Instagram stories like I am, I would love it if you would share this episode with your beautiful followers so they can also get all of the high vibes, all of the free information that I'm giving you here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarahjlorero.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.